Tattoos are forever, and so is entrepreneurship. That's next on StonePark Podcast. Dream, build, connect. Welcome once again. I am David, your host. I got my co-host, Carlos.
David, what's
How you
going
doing?
on?
Why are you next to me?
I'm in the wrong side of the table again.
That means
It's for a good reason, though.
It is. We have a special guest across from us. He is a successful entrepreneur. He has not one, but two tattoo locations in Northern Virginia. Lucio, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
We were talking about this, and it means a lot to me because when we started this podcast, we wanted this.
A
lot of our episodes have just been me and you bantering, right?
Yeah.
And that's been good. But this is the vision for us. So for you to be on our platform, we are humbled. Let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about your background and how it led to entrepreneurship.
Well, growing up, I've always been an artist. I actually started with music. My parents used to take me to church, and I started playing music. But at that time, after church, I was getting into art a lot. So that was another thing that whenever I was stressful, then I would just draw.
And at what age was that?
I was probably 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was 8. I used to copy the South Park characters. That was my main thing, South Park characters,
Cool.
And then going from there.
Very nice. And, obviously you're a tattoo artist. Why tattoos?
Ooh, why tattoos? I think that just kind of came throughout the years as I was going to school, middle school came, just the people I was hanging out with.
Mm-hmm.
It just started getting real popular with the crew that I started hanging out with,
At what age did you get your first tattoo, and at what age did you actually put a tattoo on someone?
So I got my first tattoo, I want to say when I was 14, around there. I know I was in middle school. We were just
young.
playing around with like drawings and stuff like that, and then just I remember getting a little needle, and we were just poking ourselves, me and my friends. So just stuff like that, but never I never thought that was gonna be my career, because that's not something my parents wanted me to do.
Right.
So
are you formally trained, or you're just self-taught?
I'm pretty self-taught, man.
That's
crazy. I mean, nowadays,
Wow.
nowadays I definitely try to do seminars and keep up with what's going on in the world. But
it's crazy that you said that, because I've been following you on social media. Your art is
crazy,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
so for you to say that you're self-taught is almost inspiring.
Wow.
Because people that use art,
this portrait game is crazy, bro.
yeah,
I remember I had a really good friend of mine who was just really, really good at drawing things at a young age, and he wasn't taught. He just knew how to do it.
Yeah.
Something that God gave you,
Yeah.
that you just have that talent. And I'm amazed, because really your social media, the things that you're doing, it doesn't make sense. I almost thought that you went to school for it. Did you have any mentors? Did anyone kind of lead the way for you, or you just?
You know what? One of my biggest inspiration was Mr. Cartoon.
Ooh,
those, and those are people that are just famous in the industry that were on the other side of the coast.
Okay.
that you just look up to him, you're damn, I want to be like that. In my head, I used to be I used to think damn, when I'm 30, I'm gonna be like him, because I used to know he was older already.
Yeah.
So I figured he had went through all this journey just to get where he was at. So I'm damn, I'm gonna have to just wait till I'm 30 and I'll be where I need to be.
Well, at what age did it click for you that you wanted to make this a business?
Oh, honestly, I wasn't until maybe 18 when I figured out I had my first kid, and then I'm I don't know nothing. I had dropped out, so I didn't have no career. People are actually looking for me for tattoos. I'm doing house parties and all type of stuff. So at that point, I'm all right, I need to really grind it out.
So the kid, because we talked about this in an earlier episode, that the kids change it. It puts a different pep in your step. It makes you now know that, hey, I'm not living for myself. I'm living for the little one.
Yep. You gotta figure it out.
Yeah. So 2 successful shops, 2 championships, 2 rings, 2 chips.
Yep.
Whatever you want to call it. That's how I look at it as an entrepreneur. That's like that's a win. That's a real win.
Facts.
So I'm interested to know which one was the hardest and why.
Oof. The hardest and why. The hardest for me was probably my Alexandria studio. That one because it was around COVID time when I was like.
So that's the second one, right?
That's the second one.
Okay, yeah.
So I started it. I was already looking for a place. COVID hit, and I'm already in.
Damn. Wow.
So at that point, everything shuts down. To get permits was really hard. I still had to pay rent. It was like 6 months or something, just straight rent until I finally got approved.
That's crazy.
So it was just a lot of investment, man. But I had to keep going, Wow. And I never really wanted to get like the whole loan stuff and things like that because I was like always iffy about the loans. Because I'm like, man, if I want to do stuff in the future, I don't want like any lenders or somebody to look back and be like, oh, but you got a loan during COVID time. So I used to think about it like, if you can't get through COVID, then stuff like that. Like I used to think like, if a lender's gonna try to give me some money for something bigger that I want to do, then they're probably gonna go back there like, did you survive COVID? So like
that's a good way to see it.
A lot of people didn't survive it. So
I was
but I never really researched it too much. So
he could have gone.
I probably still could have got it.
You could have gotten the PPP loan,
100%. But he didn't go the easy way out. He didn't cut the corner.
Yeah, that's what that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do.
I honestly just took it, man, and I just enjoyed time with the family, man. Because up to that point, I was like always grinding. So those 3 months that we were actually kind of like off, like they shut us down, I just spent time with the family and Drew in the house, kicking it.
Yeah, I think it was the same thing for me. And I actually had little ones, so we had a child during COVID, so it was almost perfect timing. Like kind of like you, like, hey, I'm gonna be at home. I'm gonna enjoy this time instead of just stressing about life. And that time with my wife, my 2 kids, the best. Yeah, I was stressing about money and business, but the best when thinking back at it and thinking about COVID and all the horrible things that were out in the media, I actually had a good time.
Yeah.
I actually had a good time with
I was kicking it.
And I'm a homebody too, so knowing that nothing's going on and everyone's home, bet. And then again, thinking of ways to create, because that stuff in my mind, it wasn't going to last forever. So you doing that, props to you. All right. So going back to the stores, is that your favorite? Is that your favorite store?
Is that my favorite? Oh.
Or the first one?
I don't think I think they both have a different vibe to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the first one, I think, because it was like the first one I ever got, and how it led to that point.
Yeah, so sentimental value to it.
Dude, I probably will never even get rid of it. Like that, I'll pass it down. Like,
for sure.
And I hope my kids will never get rid of it. Because just so much, like a lot of other artists came through there, and there's a lot of history there.
And that's your legacy.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Even moving, like I think about it. I'm like, man, if I move from here, like I can't even change the name because it's called Del City Body Art. So if I move, I will have to move on Del Boulevard somewhere, because I move somewhere else. I got to change the whole name.
I get what you're saying, and lose the identity.
Oh,
no, you got to keep it.
And people know that we're there, no matter what. They know we're there.
Yeah,
very cool.
It's almost like you go to, that your favorite restaurants is there, right? And you just go. You're never gonna ask who's the cook or who's,
Yeah.
Like that's your favorite restaurant. That's a good restaurant, and it's always gonna be there. So that's how I look at it. Like my shop, they're gonna always know that was a good shop.
That's like your first album.
Yep.
You want the rights to it. You want everything to go the way you want it to go. And I agree with that. I think about legacy. I think about passing things on to my family, and I think about the first things that I've ever purchased, or even the house that I grew up in. I ended up renting it. My mom, she's still living, still kicking, and she wanted to move out of it, and she asked me, should I sell it? And she said, listen, this is yours. And that's like her legacy giving to me and my sister.
Yeah.
And I said, nah, don't sell it. She's like, what do you want to do? Rent it. rent it, keep it forever. And it's not the greatest house, but I have so many memories there.
Yeah, the sentimental value.
And I think about my kids owning that and renting it out. And, obviously it brings in money, but there's something about it. There's something about it. And also thinking about my mom, my parents were divorced, and she, single mom raising 2 kids. How the hell did she get that house?
Hell yeah.
And I know how she did because I asked her, but she had some moves.
Yeah.
And not having the support or mentorship, and the fact that she got down and dirty to get that with 3 jobs, I cannot sell it. I can't.
I always think about that too when I pass by my childhood home. Like, man, I'd be wanting to buy that thing back, but it's in dead like Woodbridge.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Probably like $500,000 already.
Yeah,
I get it.
But yeah, I have a lot of like my career started there. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad built me a garage inside the home. You know what I'm saying? So it was like
in the childhood.
It was a 2-door garage, and he closed one down and built me a tattoo shop. Yeah, right in there.
Cool. That's cool.
That's real cool.
That's really where my like first tattoo shop really started. Like I was.
That's dope. That's dope support right there.
Yeah, I think in their head they were like, man, I prefer my son being home than in the streets.
That's a fact. Yeah.
He's like, bring all your friends. I don't care. Just be here.
Well, look, let's backtrack a little bit. I asked you about mentors. What about family? The family support, because I know through our journeys, our family has been there 110%. What does it mean to you to have your family behind you?
Oh man, my family, being that they were like religious and all, they actually like put that aside and was like, you know what, let's let him follow his dreams and let's support him. Because my dad, it's funny because they didn't really want me to be a tattoo artist. They were like, that's, especially coming from like us, like Salvadorian descent, like everything that's going on, they didn't want that. So like here we are, like I think probably 10 years later, they're helping me build the studio, in Woodbridge. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
So that was really like crazy for me, because I'm like,
Wow.
damn, man, my parents are like, they're helping me out. They wanted me to do this, and but the studio from the garage, that one was more like they built the room and they were like, well, you just take it, you know what I'm saying? Take it, do whatever you need to do, but I don't want you in the streets, because at that time I was like bouncing from house to house, doing stuff in the kitchen. So that's where it really started. But they wouldn't like come in there. They wouldn't like buy me stuff. They were just like, that's do your thing, whatever. So they were still trying to accept it, but I think at that time they weren't really trying to like get criticized by my uncles and aunts that they were doing that they were letting me do that.
Yeah. No, I totally get that, because my wife had strict parents, Latino parents, and she had the same pressure. He said the same thing. I think you guys are very similar.
Yeah.
And my wife can fall into that you want to impress your parents, and you know that your parents love you, but you don't really, really know until you get older that they loved you from the start.
Yeah.
They've had your back from the start. They're just scared of the world. They're scared of how the world's going to perceive you. They're scared that you might not make it or you'll fail. They're scared of what they don't know. And my wife is very successful, and they're super happy for her and super supportive, but it was always there. And my parents were different. They let me do pretty much anything that I wanted from the beginning. So I had that extra oomph.
Yeah.
And, for a person like me, I got to take advantage of that. And and I'm sure with your kids, you're going to do what my parents did for me, that, hey, that's your dream, go for it. This, like, don't worry about me. I'm here to guide you, but I'm not going to judge you. Yeah. So that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's a big pressure, because especially when you like, your parents expect a lot from you, right? Or like in my case, like my dad already had a business at the time, so I'm pretty sure in his head he's like, I want you to take it over. Same thing with me, like I want my kids to take it over. But now it's like, I'm not gonna pressure you to take the shop, but at least have that in your back pocket where you could still make money off of it or something.
Yeah, we always talk about that, right?
I always I'm like, dude, like I always make a joke. I was like, man, with my 4 kids, one of them gotta take it. You know what I mean? Somebody's gonna become a tattoo artist. Somebody's really gonna be inspired.
We talk about legacy a lot and why we're doing this. And one of the biggest things is you want to give it to your kids. You want to be able to say, hey, look at this, look what I've built. And it's funny, your dad was thinking way before. And then that might have been tough for him to see that you're your own entrepreneur. You're willing to put in the work, but just differently. And that props to him for accepting that and supporting you, making that space for the garage, because I know people that they force their sons to run the business.
Hell yeah.
And those sons are unhappy. So
Yeah.
like, there's money there and there's, little opportunity here and there, but are you really living your life?
Yeah,
You are. So
I remember in the beginning, man, it was crazy because since I didn't go to school, he'll be like, all right, if you're not gonna go to school, you gotta come to work. So then I used to think
Obviously.
like, man, he's paying me like $120 a day. Man, I could make this tattooing. So if I could make more, then why am I gonna go to work? Because he wanted to put that. But it came to a point that I actually like going to work with him, because I don't know, it was just in me. He's a hardworking man too. So I would go to work and then come home and just tattoo. So I would do both. And then my dad would,
Double dipping. He's double
So,
dipping.
no, but look, my dad would definitely will be.
I was thinking.
So my dad, after a while, like, well, after like the week, he'll try to give me the check, and I'll be like, man, I don't even want it. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll just keep it. I felt like it was the same money. You know what I mean? Like, you're earning this money to pay me, but it's still probably gonna go back to you. Like, it was just weird for me.
Very
I
cool.
prefer to
That's
like
what's up.
over here
that's
and make
cool
my own money, and then we just kind of bring it to
respect.
That shows a
Bring it
lot of
together.
character, man.
sure.
Because somebody else would have been like,
Well, we said it. We said double dipping.
Yeah,
and
double
then he,
dipping.
and then he said, "No, I don't need it."
Nah,
So
nah.
that's real cool.
I was in. I think at that age too, it was just different for me. I'm like, I was just like tattooing, and my mind was on other stuff rather than the work. I just went to go help him out, and that was just me helping him out. Like, keep that. I'm not tripping about that money. Like, I got it over here.
that's dope.
And then how did he respond to that when you were like, "Hey, I'm good"?
It just kind of became just normal. It wasn't really like, and he wasn't like a person that would show you the emotion, like, be like, oh shit, like, that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be like, all right, like,
But
and I
you
think
knew.
he'll hold that. But I think in the long run, he probably like, shit, he's the one that could really, he's the one that knows where I came, from where I came from and the journey that I've been through. So
I'm just
if anybody, he knows my whole life story, right?
for sure. I'm just thinking that if my son did that to me, it's just a sign of growth.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm doing something right. So that must have been a proud moment for him,
You know
regardless
what?
if he said
What
something.
my dad, now I remember, what my dad would do? He would actually go and sometimes he'll go and give it to my baby mama at the time and be like, here, just give it to,
Wow.
he'll give it to my
And
son.
And that's, see, you
'Cause
said-
that's
see,
another,
you
like-
see where he gets that from then?
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
right.
When he saw that, it's like, okay, I'm doing something. Your father, that is,
Yeah.
I'm doing something right. And then he just kind of the same way that you're thinking. If I take this money, it's the same as me giving it back. We're all kind
Yeah.
of
But what I'm saying is his father was still like, nah, I'm going to still give it back.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that's what I'm
it
saying.
was
That
just
in
like-
his mind, he didn't need it. It's all the same. So instead of him taking it, he's like, well, I'm gonna give it back to
Yeah.
baby
Yeah.
mama. So
It's almost like when you buy food and you're like, here, take it, and you're trying to give the person that bought you the food like $20
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, take it, and they don't want to take it,
Yeah.
and then you just like sneak it in their bag or something,
Yeah,
or leave it in their car.
That's
like
cool,
here,
man.
like
that
just-
shows where
So
you
I
where you
remember
get it
like
from.
I remember those little situations like that he'll give it to my baby mom at the time, or give it to my son and just be like, go buy him something, just little
last thing on that, you don't have to go to school to be successful. That I want to point that out. That you were ready to work, and I like how you said I like to work. So just because you didn't finish school doesn't mean that you're not a hard worker.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that you don't have it here. It's just that you're pretty much ready to make a move right now. That's how I
Yeah.
always see it.
Yeah.
If you're ready to work right now, that means
Yeah.
if you know what you're going to do, why are you going to go to school for XYZ? If you know what you want to do,
Yeah.
you go with your father, you see that, hey, I can make more money doing the tattoo art, and you made it into a business. So I think that's really important. You get to work with your wife. Tell me, 24/7, how is that?
You know what? We're still adjusting to that right now. 'Cause
Okay.
she's picking up. She just started this year. It's been a little crazy because I remember like wanting her to get out the house and actually do something so she wouldn't be like stressed out at home or stuff like that. So now that we're kind of riding together and leaving together now, it's kind of like, oh, shit, because I never get to like. Before it was like, okay, I get in the car, you could like listen to music or whatever, and then get home and deal with the kids. And now it's like you're like at the shop, you hop in the car, there's kids, whining. Then my girl probably has a ton of things to say, so I'm like, oh,
You know what? I
I
can
gotta
relate
like
to
change.
that.
I gotta change caps real quick.
I can relate to that real quick because, like, what he's saying about getting in the car, listening to music a little bit, kind of decompress.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like when I leave out of here and I'm heading home, it's about an hour, right, to Woodbridge, right, to Del City.
Yep.
So I'm like, I got about an hour to like watch whatever, little video or listen to some music, right, blast some music. Man, my wife calls me, man, and wants to have a conversation on the
It's
phone.
a wrap.
I'm like, I tell her, I'm like, yo, you're ruining my vibe right now. I'm driving and my music's off now. I'm talking on the phone with you. We could have this conversation at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you.
I'm gonna see you. Like I'll be like, dang, you know what I mean? So like I know what you
Yeah.
mean about like, you're at the shop, and then you get in the car, she's with you, and it's not that you don't love her, that you don't want to be around, because we do, but you still is that
You're
space.
still like trying to figure what just happened, or just think about what recap of your day, right? Recap.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I told we had an episode with some other guests. They were partners working together 24/7. And the biggest thing was communication, right?
Yeah.
But what I saw in them was they were able to communicate and kind of understand when the other one needed time or needed space.
yeah.
Because that time is so crucial.
Yeah.
If you're, like you said, every moment of the way with that person, you can't think. You can't think.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, and I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, I still have not gone in business with my wife.
Yeah.
Just kind of for that reason. And I think she would agree that she wants that time and that space. I do agree with you that both parties, I think, need to do something.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you got to keep busy, because
Yep.
when you keep busy and then you do connect at home, at dinner, there's something to be said, instead of you being the only one with stories.
Yep,
Right?
yeah,
And it
for
doesn't
sure.
have to be, you got to make this much and I got to make that much. It's just having your own story and your own purpose. And I think that that's real big.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to, let's say, me? All right. So I'm like, hey, Lucio, I'm thinking about, bringing my wife on board. What advice?
See, honestly, with me, it didn't even like, the idea didn't even start probably a couple, like she was starting her career,
Mm-hmm.
but the idea of bringing her on didn't really start like till a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning I was like, you know what, maybe you should go work somewhere else that does your career and learn the ins and out, and then come back and start your own stuff, instead of just jumping into like your own, like getting your own salon and everything. So at the time that was happening, I was expanding my business. So I actually moved like next door, and I moved the barbershop. It used to be a barbershop and tattoo shop. So I moved the tattoo shop next door, and then I still had the back like empty, the old tattoo shop empty. So I was thinking, okay, I have a little room there, I could put her there. But I'm like, man, I don't know if I really like, really have my lady working with me all the time, because everything that's going on, the guys, we're always talking shit. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff
Mhm.
that happens, right? And then I'm thinking, on top of that, the ladies that are getting their permanent makeup stuff done, like, do they really want to walk out that room, with their lips big or their eyebrows like all messed up?
I see.
Well, not messed up, but like, like
Yeah,
red
fresh.
and fresh,
Yeah.
and like
And then everybody just
everybody
kind of
just
like
staring,
this.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like staring, So that's when the idea came. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna split the next door. I'm gonna make another room, and then I just went for it. We just did that. So that was kind of good that she had her own space.
Mm.
She could do whatever, listen to her own music, whatever she wanted to do. It was just her own space,
Yeah.
and it was just for me to like, just for her to start. Just I tell her like, this is not it's just a stepping stone. You know what I mean? I hope for one day when I'm gonna move out the tattoo shop and go somewhere bigger, she could take over that side and have her own place. So I think the advice would be like, still have a little bit of space.
You
Yeah,
said
like,
it to have the space.
Yeah, have the space, because you still, I could only imagine like anybody else want to work with their wife. You can't be yourself all the time, like
Right.
especially like
Mhm.
the joking around with guys and
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
No, that I like that advice. I like that advice of space. And also I admire it, because not that my wife's job is a waste of time. I don't want to say that, but it's not towards our legacy. And a dream of mine would be that all of her time that she spends at work is for her legacy, what she's going to leave behind. And when you work for another company, or in her case, when I see her working for another company and how smart she is and how dedicated she is, I get jealous of the company. Like, oh man, if she worked with me, she'd be a killer. But it takes a lot from some like you to, because you kind of had that. You were like, you know what, you should work over here, and then maybe when you have those skills, you come back. But you were willing to sacrifice, because in a way you are. You know, you can't say certain things, and you got to worry about looks or whatever. I admire
everything
that.
kind of like fell into place, because mind you, like me even expanding just came out of nowhere. Like it was like me coming to work on a Sunday, and the person next door was like leaving, and I'm like, oh, like is this? I don't even work on Sunday. Is this like my calling? Like I should hop on this place, and then everything just kind of played out really nice, because as I'm moving, she's starting this career, taking her classes, getting licensed and everything. So it just like, and then boom, next thing you know, we're just working together.
But that's the thing. You as an entrepreneur, you don't have blinders on. So we're always looking everywhere, because we have to look that way.
That was an off-market deal right there.
Yeah, you have to look at every opportunity, because you're the one that's providing. If you don't come up with these ideas...
and that's how I see it. I'm like, damn, I need to expand, and I'm all about taking risks, man. I've been doing that shit all my life, so I'd be like, what's the worst case scenario in this, like, in me just taking this spot, like, so in that case, the worst case scenario is, what am I gonna do with the other side, the rent of the other side?
Right.
So that was my thing. I was like, well, I'm about to take my master class. I could start classes, start teaching people, make that a whole classroom or something, or make seminars, do podcasts.
Very
smart.
I don't know, rent it out. Give it to another, anybody that wants to do something. So I was like, whatever. That side is already. I just need to expand it. If I could get the whole, there's only 3 units up there. If I get the other unit, I'll probably get that one too. Make it something else.
That's the spirit. As a tattoo artist, and I know this might sound a little weird, but I think you guys have swag. I think you guys, there's something about a tattoo artist. You came in, I noticed the Jordans, the bloodlines. I say, hey man, nice. I wouldn't expect less. Being a tattoo artist, is it a prerequisite to have swag? Is it in you guys? Is it something that you need? Like when you see a tattoo artist come in your shop wanting a job, is that image? Is it, because I just can't imagine someone suited and booted and says, hey man, it has no tattoo.
I think swag, I definitely say it. I used to always say it before that, our this is like our cover, what I mean? This represents our business, who we are. So yeah, sometimes like being tattooed, like I could go to a store and people be like, you must be a tattoo artist. And I'm like, is it like the face tats or what it is? And they be like, I don't know, you just look like an artist. But I guess that's our image. But I do tell my guys, like at the shop, like you definitely gotta look presentable and just look good, because this is our image. This is our business card, really.
Appearance. We had an episode about appearance.
Yes.
Appearance. So, and be mindful of stuff too. Like what you're wearing, how loud it speaks. But obviously at work, it's a little different because we get ink on it too, so we can't always be all swagged up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That leads me to my next question: the trust. So the guys that are coming and working for you, you have to have some type of trust with them, because you guys are inking someone's body.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, how about this? There is no such thing as a mistake. What's the trust like between you and your people?
Honestly, I think with me, man, anytime I come in with like any relationship, with whether it's friendship or anything, I give it like almost like a point system, like you're at a 10 with me right now, at a trust level. Like if you mess up, let's say you stole something, then your point levels are coming down. I won't like share certain things with you or stuff like that. So with the guys, I'm always looking at them like, all right, obviously it's better to like see their portfolio. So I could tell off their portfolio what they're good at, what their specialties are and stuff like that. So I won't just give them a job if they're like for lettering. If somebody comes in that wants lettering, I won't give it to this guy that doesn't do lettering at all, because I'm gonna be setting him up for failure. So little stuff like that. That's where the trust levels come in. Everybody gets a key. Like I give everybody the key. Hey dog, you come in as you want. These are the shop hours. Make sure you clean up. So stuff like that is where I just put in consideration as far as trusting them.
Because I'm in real estate, and when I'm putting crown molding, I can mess up. I can make the cut a little short. I could put some caulk there to freak it out.
Yeah.
There's so many maneuvers that I have with tattoos. It's permanent.
Yes.
So the people that you bring, they just have to be on point. They have to be on point. And I'm just like you. I call it 100. Like we start at 100 and then it goes down, to the 90 and the 80. And then it's just like a little shaky.
Yeah.
So for you, I don't know if I could do what you do, because I'd almost take it home with me and think about the art and think about, is he going to mess up? Is Carlos going to, can he really do it? Can he really do that sleeve? Can he really do it? And I'll just drive myself crazy to the point where I need to be there and just kind of hover.
Maybe just watching.
You seem like you're doing your due diligence in the beginning. You're like, okay, this guy is good. I trust you with the lettering. I trust you with this type of art. And then we go from there.
Yeah. And it goes both ways, because imagine the client has to look at your artwork too and be like, okay, this guy could do what I want, and it has to put the trust also.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's how it works. Like as the client, you kind of pick your artist. Like you follow a certain artist for a certain amount of time, and you like that person, and you be like, I like.
So it's kind of on the client too.
Yeah,
right?
It's 100%. Now, there's times where you do go, like if you don't know nobody at the shop and you just kind of like a walk-in, you do probably get those. But for the most part, as a client, you like look for that person. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, it's definitely the pressure on tattoo artists is almost every day though, man. Because
so you just
you got to think we're not doing the same thing every day. It's not like y'all guys doing crown molding.
Yeah.
We'll get a piece that we probably haven't done ever. So
that's true.
The techniques and stuff like that. It's always.
I gotta say this, man. I was on your social media, and I think your wife, someone took the video and was asking you questions. You said that you did a 14-hour session.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Oh yeah.
That's nuts.
More nuts for the guy taking it.
Yeah, but also, well, hold on.
Wait, hold on. I saw. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a video that was kind of circulating. This guy is he's like, they put him out. He's like, he got an oxygen, and like he's asleep, like officially asleep.
Yeah.
And there's like three not doctors, they're tattoo artists dressed like doctors, right? Because they're like in the operating room, like tattooing his whole stomach. This other person got his leg, and they're like, and they're going crazy in the comments, like, man, if you can't take the ink, bro, don't even. And he's like passed out, he's knocked out with the oxygen tank.
I mean, look, if you want the art, I understand the pain, right?
When he wake up, though, he's gonna be like, oh.
But as far as the artist, you're there for 14 hours. I can't even sit here for. I couldn't even be in bed for 14 hours watching TV. 14 hours just like this, and then also every move you make is important. That's crazy. How did you get through that?
Well,
caffeine,
yeah, that's one. We take a lot of breaks. That's one. Like, we're not always like tattooing the whole time. But man, when you're doing a piece that you're like really committed in your drive, you don't even think, the time just kind of goes,
But it's also if you like really feeling that piece, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we were, we had a deadline. Honestly, we were trying to like.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's to compete, and I want this thing healed, and we're just going, not even expecting that it was gonna take me that long, because it didn't seem like that long. But just the details and everything that the back piece had, it just. Next thing you know, it's 4:00 in the morning, but
crazy.
It is what it is.
Yeah, correct. When I saw that, I was like, oh man.
I always make a joke when people be like, yo, does your hand hurt? Like when they ask me, does your hand hurt? I'll be like, shit, it does until I get paid. Then that shit goes away. So
that's awesome.
You just like, all the pain goes away once you get paid.
So we love symbolism, and tattoo is all about that. I know you probably have many. What is one piece that sticks out in your mind? Like, do you have a story behind a piece that you did for a client, maybe for yourself?
Well, maybe the one recently, man. I just did one that the guy came in and he wanted like two faces, basically. One representing like happiness, and then broken. The happiness one broken, so you could see the person behind it the person who's gonna be sad, in the back. So it kind of made me think. I'm like, damn, bro, are you like, are you all right? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you going through something, or is this like your way of screaming for help? I don't know. Wow. So stuff like that. But it was a really like meaningful piece to me. because I think I could, we could relate. You never know what's going on in the like in the inside of somebody, right? Because people go through struggles every day, and we just gotta put up a front. Like people see me and they're like, oh, he's lucky because he tattoos and he's doing this and he's making money. But shit, there's nobody knows the struggle that we've been through to get where we're at now.
Yeah. I always say that. Yeah, I always say that to Carlos, that a lot of people are struggling, and including myself. I'm going through some rough stuff. This past 18 months has been a killer. It's been a killer, man. And that was part of the reason why we started the podcast, just because it was getting so bad. I felt like I needed a little light. I needed a little light. And also when you're down, that's the time to be creative. That's the time. Usually when you're making moves, you're kind of blinded by those moves and the money, and you're just like, oh man, nothing can stop me. When you're down, that's when you get your creative juices flowing and you start making things happen. It leads me to my next question. I look at tattoo artists as almost like therapists in the art form. How does it make you feel that people are coming to you maybe for a sad moment, or a happy occasion, more so the sad moments, like the art that you were talking about? What does it make you feel like? Because you just said it. You just said, hey man, are you okay? Like, do you talk to them?
That's like more in my head, but you know what? I like it when I get a client, right, and the conversation just kind of like dead, and then maybe 1 or 2 hours in after me, like just poking at, like just, like just trying to have a conversation with them, they actually open up. The next thing you know, it's like the time just flies because we just been chopping it up, and they get to like tell me everything, you know what I'm saying? And to me, that's a good thing, because I was a person that always used to hold a lot of stuff in, so now that I actually could express myself and like have a conversation, like people need that, bro. You can't, you can't be holding stuff in all the time. So, and for me, it's cool because most likely I'm gonna forget there's gonna be bits and pieces about you that I might remember, but after that, the session is like, yo, I got another person next tomorrow that's gonna, so I'll forget. Yeah, I'll forget. And then later on, they'll remind me, and I might not see them for the next couple of months, bro. So when they come back, I might have that same conversation. Then they'll just kind of, I'll remember it, right, little by little. I'm like, okay, yeah, I do remember that.
He's reading my mind. So what the connection between you and the client? Like, okay, so I have no tattoos. If I go to you, that piece, I'm always gonna think of you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like crown molding. No one thinks of me about the crown molding. It's just crown molding. But a piece that meant something to me back in the day, or my daughter was born, I put, something. I'm always going to think about your shop. I'm probably always going to be loyal to you and come back to you.
The experience.
What connection do you try to keep with them? So basically, I know it on to the next, but when you have them come back, right? And then you're talking, and then boom, it clicks. You're like, this guy. What does it mean to you? How does it make you feel that these people are coming back to you and they're almost loyal to you?
Yeah. You know what? That little stuff like that I learned like when I was real young, bro. Because when I started tattooing, by the time I was 16, I realized like, damn, I actually got something going for myself, right? And it wasn't even the art, because at that time I sucked. I mean, I was good for what, for my timing. Like, but what I noticed is that I'm stealing freaking shops clients. So they're coming to my house. Why? Because of the experience. Because I'm doing custom drawings. Because I'm listening to them. I'm, offering them a beer or something. I'm at the house. If you want to smoke, bro. Like, I don't care. So little stuff like that. Now I use that in my studio. Like, the experience is everything, man. How you present yourself, how you try to listen to what they want, because some people are not really creative, so they're just like, yeah, I want this, but you're trying to give them options and not trying to rush them out the door and just take their money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely the experience as a client. That's what matters, man.
Yeah, the experience. So
even if you pay a little more, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean?
Well, it's forever. So I would think that the price, like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
What does it matter?
That's what I'm saying. Right. Like, it doesn't matter, like, the price. Like, you go for experience. You know what I mean? Like, if you're happy, like.
And for some people, like you, like especially you, that you haven't got tattoos, so you wouldn't know. You're probably gonna look at the price and be like, yeah, what the hell? That's a lot. Like, people are really paying this money.
So how much is a sleeve? How much would a sleeve be?
you're looking at in this area probably anywhere from $3,000
All right,
to maybe 10K.
Okay, 10
depending on the artist.
Right, right, right.
Depending on the artist.
Depending on that's interesting too.
Depending on the details.
So
you know, you could get 4 big ass roses and you'll be covered.
So,
or you could be my size and be covered in one session.
So all your artists have different rates.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense.
That.
Let us know when you're ready. I want to be there. I want to see that.
Yeah. Well, look, I've always wanted one, but I had this dream that I got the tattoo and I was just trying to wash it off. And I remember waking up and I just thought that was a sign that I shouldn't get it. But that was such a long time ago, and who knows what that meant. That could have meant something different, not a tattoo. It could have been a business venture or some, snake that, in the crew, something like that.
Doing something, getting stuck with it. Like being stuck with
exactly. So my wife definitely wants to get one, and she was like, "Oh, you should ask him this. You should ask him that." I'm like, slowly roll. All right.
How much you charge for this?
Yeah. No, but $3,000 for a sleeve.
That's on a really like I said, that's on a really low end. Like,
right. No,
that's me. Like, for example, you telling me, look, do whatever you want, and
right. Right. The $10,000, that's a lot, but I understand why. I totally understand.
And that's even doing it like, imagine like that's maybe doing like 1,000 a session, or even like 1,500. You could you're looking at like 6 different sessions.
I got small arms, man.
Damn,
anyway,
but it all depends on the artist.
You could probably answer this. So why do you continue to get tattoos? Why is it so addicting? Everyone that I know that has a tattoo doesn't have one tattoo.
I would tell you, for me, it's like when you get one, you got to get the other side that matches. Like it starts off like that. I remember when I got my first tat, I was like, all right, I got this one. And then I started looking at my other, I'm like, damn, I need one on this one. And then I get this one, and I'm like, oh man, now I need to get another. Like, it's just.
So he's like, it's almost like you're in the perfect business because the repeat customers. You do a nice piece of art, they're coming back.
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, there's a lot of people that are actually more simple. They just like want something slight. I mean, I got clients that didn't get their first tattoo till they were like 50. You know what I mean? And now they're getting sleeved out. Their careers are done. They retired military. They're starting to get tatted up. So, yeah, I mean, we're definitely in a good career. I just don't. I'm still trying to figure out what's gonna be in the future with it. Like what's gonna be. Like the style has changed so much. So it's like, are people still gonna want black and gray? It's like, for example, like back then, people used to love tribal. Like the rock, and how that's changed up now. So that's the only thing about that. Like, I'm trying to still figure that out.
Would you ever bring cameras into your shop?
Hell yeah, I would. Actually, a lot of people used to always tell me, like, you need your own show.
Yeah, it just sounds like.
But in my Woodbridge studio, well, actually in both of my studios, I don't know, we might have to put it like in Univision somewhere or Telemundo, because
you could have
it's
that.
a little bit of mixture, we have 2 languages in the shop.
You could have that
at the same time, music and all that.
So. Yeah.
Well, you should at least do maybe like a pilot episode and then shop it around. It just like the story. I remember watching Miami Ink, and I think there was another one before that. My wife and I were obsessed with it, and we don't have any tattoos. So that just shows you that, like, think of how many people watch that with no tattoos, with tattoos. It promoted tattoos, like,
oh yeah,
and that's
that
how
blew us up.
That's how I thought of you guys healing people. That you guys are there to heal people with these pieces. Like, show me a piece that you have that means that means something.
I had this one here. It's like a family roots, so it's like a tree. Grandparents. I still need to add the 2 tombs on the other side from my grandparents that passed. And when they're buried down, a tree grows, right? Because the root, the main part of the tree is my mom and my dad, right? Kind of like the base. And then you got 5 big branches. That's my brothers. And then from those branches, there's leaves for each one, like have the kids.
It's pretty cool.
And I know you have tons of stories like that, but for me, that's kind of inspiring.
Yeah. So yeah.
That'd be cool for a show. Like, just to have like somebody tell a story and then how the tattoo comes out.
Or even like a YouTube channel that you just have a couple cameras there and then maybe an interview with the person and what it means to them. I mean, just something like that, I think is it's real deep. It's real deep.
I mean, tattoos, that's the thing about, like, people be like, oh, why you get tattoos? Like I said, me as a client, I'm not a tattoo artist, but I'm client. I'm the ones that walk in,
Yeah.
I just get them because they do mean something.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And they're just meaningful, man. Like, they really are. I mean, now don't get me wrong. There's some people that just get wild stuff, but it's when if you ask me, like, we say that it's wild stuff, but to them it means something.
Yeah. Just talking to you now, I have more questions. You win awards.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Tell me what awards are out there, and how do you enter, and do you bring pictures, or do you actually bring the person with you? How does it work?
Man, well, that kind of started. I remember going to convention. I used to just go to like network and just have like at least one client in every city. But then I remember traveling with one of my tattoo homies, and he was winning awards like crazy, and just the recognition that he was getting, that I'm like, oh shit, I think I could do that. Like, nobody in DMV is doing that right now. Like, nobody was really winning awards, and if they had, it was probably awards from like back then. Nobody was really like doing it hard. So each convention has categories. Most of the time it's black and gray, either color, best back piece, best chest piece. So you just pick a category and just go in it. So I just started doing that, man. And it'll be random, man. It'll be random. Like, the guy that I did that 14-hour piece was just random client that we just did a bad piece. And when the convention came to DC, we just kind of went in and just entered it and went from there. So
you just went to the Baltimore one, right? I know
Baltimore one too, yeah. So, but that's crazy, because like that back piece, you got, at some point you got to retire it, because after all the judges seen it, they're like, all right, bro, you won too many times. Like, they're not gonna pick you no more. So,
but it just shows that it was that good.
Yeah, it was that good. So
it was that good. 14 hours. I still can't get that out of my mind.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. But yeah, so there's different categories. So right now I'm like, I know a lot of people probably get mad at me. They're like, fuck this. Here's Lucio again, trying to like win trophies when I already got so many, right? But I don't know. I'm actually like trying to do other stuff with the trophies now, like as far as like win all the different categories. Like, if I don't have one for black and gray or for color, then I'll try to win one for color. Sure. Or best lettering, just to kind of like challenge
but
myself.
That's good though, because it gives you motivation to continue. It's like you don't get just kind of like, you don't settle for just being like, okay, well, I'm here now, that's it, I'm here, I made it. And if you always keep yourself like, hey, I want to get this next thing, it's gonna always keep you sharp. It's always gonna keep you with that go-getter mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As I've grown, that's always been like a touchy subject for me, because at the beginning, it used to be like for me and for my satisfaction. I used to be like, oh man, somebody's gonna sponsor me maybe because I'm winning trophies, and then sometimes conventions are not even worth it that much. Nobody, like, those conventions are probably not even worth it. Nobody goes there. Like, nobody that's a heavy hitter in the tattoo industry are going there. So sometimes in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm just doing it for my family, like for
your legacy,
and for my clients that are watching me, because they're the ones that are keeping up with me on the social media. So they're gonna feel good to go tell their coworker and be like, yeah, my artist be winning a trophy, or he tattoos this person.
Yeah, but also with the motivation, money, and we had a motivation episode. Money was very low on the list, because once you make money, it just gets put back in. Yeah. Kind of like what you were talking about with your dad, that, hey, here.
Yeah.
You're in it for the love, the motivation of you winning, and it's kind of another category for you, which I think is very good for you, because you're successful. I look at you as a success story. Now you're looking at what else motivates me. I want to get all these trophies.
Yeah.
And people might say, he's here again, but that should motivate them.
Yep.
Like it should all be love. It's kind of like competition. Think of basketball. Yep. You don't they were cool with Jordan, but you don't think they wanted to beat him?
Hell
he kept on winning.
I mean,
it is what it is.
I've been thinking about that too. I'm like, damn, my time is gonna come when somebody's really gonna like. But people don't really realize, like, I've lost plenty of times. I probably like lost more than I've actually like won. Well, I'm for sure that I've lost more than many I won. But just that motivation to keep going. Even for my kids, like when I win and I bring a trophy home, they're freaking excited as hell, you know. Or just to even think back, like when they look at these trophies that, you know, it's gonna be like 2040, you know what I mean, the year 2040, and they look back and they're gonna be like, oh damn, my dad won this.
You see what I'm saying?
2018, 2019.
That's why, like, you know, we talked about this, and that's why I tell you, like, because, you know, he was asking me, oh, well, why you do battle rap, or why you rap, or why you know, and I tell him, I'm just like, because it's like a legacy thing. It's just like something that 2040, 2050, when, you know, our kids are gonna be like, oh, you know, grandpa was a tattoo artist. Oh, grandpa was an artist. He was a rapper, or whatever. You know what I mean? And they could go into YouTube and just go and go see my videos and be like, oh dang, he wasn't lying. Look, grandpa, he won this battle. Oh, he lost this battle. Oh, you know, and same thing with, oh, look at grandpa. Look, you see all those trophies? That's grandpa, man. Yeah. Man, he won that big bag piece. And here's the picture of it. And here's the video of whatever. That's why having video of you doing that work and all that stuff, man, would be a very good idea.
That was one of the reasons I accepted to come on the podcast. And I've actually been talking about it for a long time, to do podcasts.
You should
just get it, you know, try to get invitations from other people that are doing it.
Yeah,
because
I'm totally should.
I'm like, dude, if anything were happen to me, like, it's like I'm gone with all that, bro. Like, unless I write a book, but for me to write a book right now is like my life ain't really.
But the podcast might be great for you because you can extract those stories from people right then and there, have it on video, and you know exactly what they're going through. I think it's crazy that it's almost your price should be your price because you're doing two things, right? You're giving them the art, but you're also giving them a place where they can vent.
The therapy side.
There you go. Totally.
Yeah. On top of that too, it's like, I don't know if you ever heard of it. I used to go around all the time. They'd be like, yo, at the end of the day, tattoo is a luxury anyway. So it's like, you know, you're not gonna go to like the Louis store and ask them for a discount or stuff like that. Like, you don't really like need this, right? You don't.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So if you really want it, then you gotta save up for it or really do your research and then be ready for it, because it's a lifetime commitment. So
that's very true.
That was one thing that I read a long time ago, and I'm like, damn, that is true. So
yeah, your brand is everything.
Yeah, try to be.
Your brand is everything. How important is your social media? Because you got a decent sized following, and like I said, I looked at a lot of your videos and I learned a lot. How important are your followers?
Oh, well, my social media, man, I've always as time has changed, man. I remember like in the beginning when I used to do conventions and I used to trade my info with the guys, the other artists, and I'd be like at 2,000 followers. You could tell the respect wasn't really there. They'd be like, okay, this is just a random dude from Virginia. So I used to be like, bro, I got to get my following up, because my following was like my credit score, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, man, awesome. Once I started hitting 10K, man, people like, oh, shit. Like he's somebody, you know what I mean?
That's true.
So that was stuff like that.
I love that.
But now I definitely like, I'm trying to push it, you know, and mostly because I want to get more like sponsorships and just get out there more, man, bro. Like, there's people out here, like there's artists out here getting paid. They're getting their booths paid at convention. They're traveling for free. You know, they're getting needles, they're getting new sponsors and stuff like that. So,
damn.
But a lot of it, sometimes I see it, like I'll see an artist that's probably not even the best, and he got all the sponsorships in the world, but that fool probably got 1 million followers. Like, you know what I mean? He's getting a lot of engagement.
Yeah.
You know, so it does mean a lot to me. You know what I mean? Trying to keep up with it, and I see it now even with the engagement, like. My following, bro, they want to see me. They don't even care of my tattoos no more, bro. Like, you could see it in the numbers, bro. Like, I post a picture, they're probably like in their hair, like, all right, bro, we know you're tattooed, dog. Like, tell us something funny or do something funny. So that's what I'm trying to get better at, like being on camera and do stuff like that.
Yeah, the way that you're doing it right now, it's really good, because they're shorts. Those shorts that you're doing, those are really good. Like they're engaging, they're funny, and like
those, man. You should see how many times I like we split the video, break, freaking. Let's do it again, and then it doesn't even get funny no more because you've done it 20 times.
You're pissed doing it.
Yeah, man. I had to stop it. My artists are getting annoyed. They're tattooing, so so right now I've kind of put a stop to it because I'm revamping and trying to like see how I could still do the videos, but maybe in a more controlled environment, like because doing it at the shop when like I might do a video and then here comes a walk-in like and just slams the door, you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's tough.
but I tried it and I was like, okay, this is working out. Like I need to keep going because people want to hear those stories. Like, what's my longest tattoo I done, or how did you start, blah blah, and and at the same time give it a little twist where it's like, funny or something, make it funny.
Yeah, entertainment.
So
That's all that is.
And it's all for the clients, man. I like it when my clients come back and be like, yo, like they know already about me. You know what I'm saying? They already have that connection. They know how to how to act towards me. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to be like all like,
oh, it's tight.
Yeah, uptight, or they could just be chill.
Be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess this question is for both of you. Tattoos and music. What does it mean to be in the DMV area?
I like it. I'm originally from LA.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's a different culture.
Mhm.
It's different, but I like it. I mean, it's
But for music in particular,
music in particular. I mean, there's
because it's kind of like a big fish in small pond type thing. Like
well, I mean, me personally, I felt like there was more opportunity music wise in Cali,
right?
just because it's just
Cali.
yeah, and here it's kind of dead. It's not really like there's not really like a lot of support like that. It's
Right.
kind of weird, and it's sometimes it seems like you get support from out of state or from out of the neighborhood, out of the area.
Okay.
Because like when I gone to Mexico, I'm doing autographs. You know what I'm saying? Like here, they just like that's just Fama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is. Like it's different. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's there's still a scene.
But do you think that makes you stronger?
Like how?
That you're not getting maybe the support that you got in Mexico, but here you got to be that much more polished.
Well, yes. I mean, it's kind of like going to New York. New York is the toughest crowd,
Right.
like for like music
Sure.
and stuff. So here is the crowd is tough here too. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's tough, man. It's tough, but it's dope. I mean, it's dope.
What about tattoos in the DMV?
Well, kind of piggyback off what he said. I could feel that because what I noticed out here, man, that the support is definitely different, bro. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a Latino thing because I could see like the African brothers, bro. Like, it'll be a tattoo artist and that has like 150K. You know what I mean? I feel like they are more united in that aspect.
Yeah.
Like they help each other out.
Like the chinos in construction, they only stick to
themselves.
Always.
That's
I don't
true.
know why
Always.
because like tattoo artists, like even just to repost somebody or stuff like that, it's real iffy. Like nobody wants to like pass on that
Yeah,
client.
like
or,
they don't want to show that they supported you for
Yeah.
some reason. It's weird, and it's kind of like
I don't know if it has to do because it's so small or what it is, but on the good side of it, I kind of like it now because before I used to be like, dude, if I was in Miami, New York, or LA, bro, I'll probably be booming. Like I'll be on a whole nother level. But I'll probably it'll be like a little fish in a big pond. But over here, it's like,
well, yeah.
it's just like who's doing it out here now. Like
Mhm.
who's really big, who's the baddest tattoo artist. Like it's good to be like it's not so many of us, but it's growing. It's gonna be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's
And we're like put in one. So Virginia's one, but now we're getting put in like DMV. So now we're like this whole like it's
tri-state,
tri-state kind of thing.
yeah, I think there's amazing opportunity in the DMV. So for us in film, we want to do that. We want to be able to really push forward with the film industry and make our second film like lights out so that people say, well, where was this made? Oh, this was made in the DMV area. Whoa. And then people start coming.
That's kind of where this freaking face tattoo came from, Virginia. Because when I used to travel, like people be like, "You're from Virginia? Like, fuck is out there trees?"
I didn't even think of
we're
that.
booming. Like we're booming out here. You know what I mean? So it's like putting ourselves on the map, and that's
I
pretty
like
dope.
that. I've been looking at it the whole
Yeah.
time. Okay.
And that's
Makes
pretty
sense.
dope that you're doing that because it's hard to find connections out here too. That's another thing, bro. Like even like the lowrider industry, like it's so hard to do certain things because everything is on the West Coast. You have to go out of state for certain things.
yeah, you go to car shows here, and you might see 1, 2 lowrider.
Yeah.
And it's probably yours. It's
Yeah,
probably
it's
yours.
probably
The one I seen you there. Yeah, I think it's his. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And-
You have a low ride?
Yeah.
Did you bring it?
No.
Oh man.
No.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I would have probably not made it.
I see it.
I probably would have, but it's far as hot.
Dream, build, connect. You have a dream, you build that dream, and then you take what you've built and you connect it to the world. So you're probably, from what I gather, you're in all three phases. But what phase do you think you're in?
The main one, probably the connecting one.
Okay.
The connecting one now, because I've been building for so many years already, and I'm still learning, because art changes, as you know. So the connecting phase is the one that I probably want to push a little bit more, because I'm trying to build something in the future, like trying to expand. And we're in Virginia, bro, so Virginia doesn't really have a lot of that like community. And even when I try to bring the people together, it's real hard. Like, people are so like skeptical, like, about even going to hang out with you or something.
And I don't know why, and that's why I brought up the DMV as far as the music goes and the tattoos go. We have it all here. If we just all connected and supported one another, we could be a destination.
Well, that's why this podcast is going to be dope, because that's what we wanted. We wanted to bring different businesses that you're here now telling your story, right? And bringing, Casa de Tinta, Del City Body Art, right? And everything here. And somebody like you or like me that is like trying to get a tattoo, you might be looking at the podcast and be like, man, you know what? I like this guy. I like Lucio's story. I'm going to hit him up. I'm going to look for him. Same thing if you're a plumber and you come here and you want to talk about your life and being as an entrepreneur, as a plumber. I'm looking for a plumber. I might like your story and want to connect with you. So,
yeah, once you learn someone's story, then you feel like you can subscribe, share, right? It's like social media is wicked like that. You only got a couple seconds and people are like, oh, that was cool, but they scroll through it. This right here, we get to learn about you. You're like he said, I don't have any tattoos, but now I'm thinking, if I ever go get a tattoo, and I know my wife wants one, you're the guy. You're the guy. You're totally the guy. And how can we make it so that anyone that thinks of tattoos thinks of you? And that's your brand, and really other people supporting your brand. People saying, hey, this guy's the real deal. And you have the portfolio for that, but it's getting it to the people. I know you have a pretty big social following, but how many people are in the DMV? Should we have 1 million followers? Wouldn't it be cool if you had 1 million followers supporting you and knowing who you are? You're the type of person that is going to give opportunity to other artists. There's work for everybody. And that's what I always tell Carlos about. It's not so much about the competition. Like, we go into other properties and we do reaction videos. I don't really hate on them. Like, I always try to show the positive of like what I like about the property. There's no reason for me to go and dog out a property for likes. So what I try to do is I go in and I find things that I like, and I explain like, hey, I'm taking mental notes of how I can make my product better. It's not that I'm copying. It's more so I get it now. And people should come to my property and do the same. People should go to your locations and say, hey, this is how he's doing it. It shouldn't be that he's stealing something. It should be more so that we're helping each other. And we talked about this. When you have a group of people, if you guys are separating, that's a good thing. It's a good thing because you guys are growing. You don't want to hold someone forever. Like, you promote your artists. And I think that's key.
Yeah.
Connecting is the key.
It was good that when somebody leaves your studio and they go to another spot, or they started at your studio, it's like that's like on their resume. Like, where'd you start out? Okay, you started Lucio's shop. All right, you're good to go. You definitely.
Yeah, that makes, and we've had that too, where people go on and create their own business. We hire them. There's William. He used to work for us back in the day. And now that we've been taking contracting jobs, he has his own thing going on. We trust him. He's worked with us before. We know what he can do, and we use him. Am I mad that he went out and did his own thing? No, right? Then, I mean, you have the occasional scumbag that does their own thing and maybe takes someone. Client. Yeah, so that
or underbids you right there on the spot.
And that's the dirtiness of entrepreneurship. You got to have thick skin for that.
Yeah, I don't really stress all that out. I'm just like, whatever, dude, do your thing. As long as, like, for me, when my artists decide to move on, man, as long as you leave on a good note, then you most likely could come back whenever you want. The doors will be open. But if you just like get up and leave, or just yeah, you're probably never coming back. And it's happened to me where people just get up and leave and they try to come back, and I'm like, I can't even get over the fact that you just didn't even give me the respect to like tell me that you don't want to be here no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So little stuff like that, man.
Yeah, you learn a lot about people, and Carlos and I have dealt with that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
It's just kind of part of the business, and it's hard because I've asked Carlos, how long does it take for you to actually trust somebody, and he's like, oh well, I'll trust you, kind of like what you said. I'll give you the 10, right? For me, it takes a year for me to really trust that person.
You
and
see all their movements and how
you
they
see
do.
it all, and then they get a little comfortable, and then you see what you're working with.
That's a good one too.
After a year, I feel like, okay, this is it. And sometimes they don't even make it through the year, and then you're just like, and then there's no emotion
you see
tied
all
to
the
it.
problems and everything.
Yeah. All right. So I think tattoos are just like entrepreneurship. It's permanent. You are an entrepreneur. There's no way that you're going to get a 9-to-5. There's no way that it's permanent, and tattoo is like a business decision, and they all have meaning. Carlos gave us some meaning to his beautiful tattoo. You are an inspiration. Are there any other things that you want to tell us? What's going on with your shops? Any promotion? I want to give the floor to you because, you took your time out to give us this content. I want to reciprocate.
The only thing new I could think about right now that's I'm planning for the future is seeing how I could help a lot of new artists come in the game. What I've noticed that from picking up like older artists to a younger artist, like if I could somehow get into like the high school system or something like that, or the school system, and try to pick up artists like straight out of high school, is better than picking up an artist that has a kid, has bills, and has all this other stuff going for themselves. Because then it's like they can't really dedicate too much time to the craft. So that's been another idea that I have in my head to start teaching. You know what I mean? Start teaching and seeing how I could bring them, and just not bring somebody that's just wants to do it for the money. You know what I mean?
Would you take on like an internship?
Yeah, kind of like an apprenticeship, man. Yeah. The apprenticeship, but really dedicate time to it, because the apprenticeships that I've taken in the past is just harder for me, because it's like I'm not really getting paid for it or nothing, and I still have to work, and I can't really dedicate time to the person. So now I'm trying to see like how we can make it where I'm really gonna license you. You know what I'm saying? I'm really gonna spend time with you, doing classrooms, or maybe do like hands-on stuff, but then you could come watch me while I'm tattooing, stuff like that. Because there is a lot of new artists coming up, and I mean, I get a lot of people coming to the door like trying to look for apprenticeships, but they're not doing it the right way. They're not doing it like how I was doing it, years ago. Even though I never got a real apprenticeship, but I was prepared, bro. Like, I came in with a portfolio with like more than 50 drawings in that thing. People are coming up with stuff that they just probably printed out of the computer and saying that they drew it.
They don't build them like they used to, though.
So, or just, you can't even define like what style like they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so somehow like preparing them, almost like when you're about to buy a house, just like preparing them and get them ready for when, if they decide to go anywhere, somebody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hire you. Because I have like my last two apprentices that I picked up, when they came in with the portfolio, bro, I was like, bro, you just gotta do this shit in tattooing. I'm not even gonna teach you how to do lettering. I'm not gonna teach you nothing. Just teach you how to set up, the techniques, needles, all that stuff. And everybody else is gonna teach you in the shop, because that's one thing that you're gonna get. I'm not the only one that's gonna be teaching you. Everybody's gonna be teaching you in here. So, but it was that opened my eyes to like, oh shit, there's people out here that been drawing this since they were a kid, and they stuck with that style, and you could see it. Not the ones that are just like, oh shit, like I see these dudes making money, let me start drawing. And they used to draw back then, but they haven't drawn for 10 years. Now they're trying to sketch something up and try to go
you could tell.
You could tell, bro. So, or even like those programs that like the re-entry programs, like people coming out of prison and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Try to see how I could like
give an opportunity.
Yeah, give
That's
them
real
opportunity.
cool.
You know what I'm saying? But
there's a lot of artists that come out from like prison, and like know, that come with that talent.
Yeah, with that talent, that they're already beasts, man. And in there, I know a little bit about it, so I respect it a lot. There sure. You don't even have a lot of equipment to even do stuff. So but that's like my next focus, bro. Because
I love it.
I think I just always been a helpful person, bro. Like I've always opened the doors to people, and
I think that's why maybe you're successful, that your mindset is always helping and going. I keep on bringing this back, but going back to giving the money back to your dad.
Yeah.
Like Carlos said, that's character. That's something that you have within you, and you're just doing the same thing on another level. So that's really cool. Can you drop the names of your shops and your social media?
Yeah, so I go on social media. I go by ValG or VALG703_tattoo. My Woodbridge shop is called Del City Body Art. It's on Del Boulevard, and my Alexandria shop, it's on Route 1, right there by Fort Belvoir. But I think both of the shops are the only locations on those strips, so that's a pretty cool thing now. Yeah, because Route 1 doesn't have no
Good
other
for
one.
You, man.
But yeah, that one's called La Casa de Tinta.
I like that name. That name is dope.
Yeah, I did that because it's just a real like Hispanic neighborhood, man. I always wanted. It's crazy how things like play out, because for years I always wanted like a Latino. Like I remember growing up and trying to get into it in the tattoo studio, and it was always ran by like the white boys and stuff like that. So they would look at me and be like, either they were scared that I was gonna steal their clients, or they were just racist. But it's like I could never get in. So
that's usually how entrepreneurship happens.
Another one was like, I remember working at a studio. Once I finally got in with this Asian guy, and you get a lot of Hispanic people coming in there wanting a tattoo, and they'll bring their kids to translate what they wanted. So that was like, damn, dude, like, and now I'm super excited. Like I'm really like proud of like my culture, because DMV has a lot of Latino owned tattoo shops, bro. Like if you really think about it, there's a lot of us that are the owners are Latinos.
Yeah.
So that's like a big flip right there from it being, Americanized to what it is now. So
very cool.
Like I said, Tinta, even though some of the white people say it all strange now, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's
what it is.
Yeah, that's dope. That they have to say it.
Yeah. So and it's actually the place when I seen it.
That's the reverse card in Uno. You know what I mean?
So funny.
Yeah, that's the reverse card in Uno. I'm like,
so now
La Casa de Tinta.
Yeah,
boy.
And it's an actual house. So it's actually a house that became a commercial building. So like
even better.
when I seen it, I was just like,
makes sense.
House of Ink. So it kind of worked
very
out.
Cool.
House of Ink.
Lucio, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure, man.
Listen, if you guys like what you're hearing, you can find us, StonePark Podcast, everywhere. If you're into real estate, StonePark Real Estate, everywhere, okay? We're on all platforms. And if you want to connect with us, we have an email set up, connect@stonepark.com. Guys, until next time, dream, build, connect.